Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. We have done it. Starting on August 4th, we have uploaded a video every single day in the month of August. I am so grateful for everyone that has come to the channel, for everyone that has watched any sort of videos that I have uploaded during this time, and for everyone that has supported me during this time. And to wrap off what's been a very exciting month, we are going to go over some breaking news on how Pendulums are going to work in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links mobile app. Now, I'm sure most of you have already seen this. I'm sure most of you have already heard of this. The first person I actually saw this from was my friend Brad from It's Brad As HD. He does Duel Links YouTube channel, a lot of great stuff. I'll link his YouTube channel down below, and I believe I saw it on his Twitter page, just on my page when I was scrolling through, and I I was pretty shocked when I saw it, but after thinking about it for a while, I'm really not. It's kind of like an inside joke that Konami, doesn't like pendulums, and I don't know if there's any actual legitimacy or truth to that, but I'm sure if you believe that, this is probably just going to further your belief. Pendulums, just from an anime perspective, were the only mechanic that did not show up and was not mentioned at all in Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. Every single mechanic showed up. Rituals, fusions, synchros, exes, links, and pendulums were the only mechanic and method that did not show up in that anime. And now you have this situation where the pendulum scales are going to be in the back row, which I believe is either Master Rule 3 or Master Rule 4. I think there were some people who were hoping the board was going to get expanded so that there would be a special pendulum zone and you could keep your 3 back row, which was the case when you were playing, or when Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 was airing and you were playing the main game. Not only did you have a 5 area back row, but you also had specific zones for your pendulum cards. Nowadays, I'm pretty sure the pendulum cards go in the spell and trap zone, but you still have 3 zones to maneuver with. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, it looks like you're going to have 1 zone to set a trap, to use a spell. I mean, God forbid you use a continuous spell. Your entire board is clogged if you are pendulum summoning. Now, I know this really is only going to affect pendulum decks that utilize back row. I think Abyss Actors is a deck that utilizes back row. So Abyss Actors was a deck that I thought they were going to give Shingo. Based on how this is going to play in Duel Links, and by that I mean how pendulums are going to play, I don't know if that deck is going to be effective at all. I don't know what decks are going to really suffer from this. I've seen a lot of people say, DDDs are in trouble, and you remember DDDs use a lot of traps. They use a lot of continuous spells and traps, which are contract cards, which are continuous. Well, now you can't really utilize more than one if you have a scale, if you're using pendulum summoning for DDDs. I know DDDs are still decent without pendulums, but I'm sure people who were really excited for that deck to get a boost with pendulum features probably are not too thrilled by this announcement. So that's a deck that I would imagine is probably a little hurt from the fact that you're only going to have 1 zone if you decide to pendulum summon. But there are some pendulum decks that I feel like don't really use back row. I've seen a lot of people say Metal Foes is a deck that doesn't really use back row. And while I can't really speak on the minutia of that, there are going to be some decks here that don't get affected. And the other thing that you have to remember is a lot of the decks that are coming to Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links through Arc 5 World are not going to be pendulum focused. Yuzu's deck will probably have no pendulum monsters. Melodious is not going to have any pendulum monsters. When you have decks like Raid Raptors and Phantom Knights, there's no pendulum support. A lot of people forget, especially early on in Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, you had Yugioh and you had Reiji. And besides the 2 of them, there was really not that much pendulum summoning going on. Shingo would also pendulum, but there were a lot of characters, way more than I think people remember, in Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 in the anime that just did not utilize pendulums. So I guess instead of running the risk of having pendulums, quote-unquote, break the game or be very, very powerful to the point where maybe they'd have to do an update, which would include making the zones go into the spell and trap zone, which would be a really bad look on their part. Instead of risking that, they just said, you know what? Let's cripple pendulums from the beginning and make them a little tougher to use. than go the other way with it and have them be their own zones and just kind of see what happens. I guess from a power scaling perspective, they just didn't want to risk Pendulums breaking the game of Duel Links, but it does kind of suck because if you are a huge fan of Pendulums, which personally I'm not, to be honest, I probably was not going to play any Pendulum decks, but I do feel bad for the people that are big fans of Pendulum summoning where that's their favorite mechanic because, you know, it's not something that I'm sure they're thrilled about and they wanted to see. I mean, I don't want to say that they're dead on arrival, and I don't think Arc 5 World is dead on arrival either, because I still think that Arc 5 World has the advantage of having so many cool archetypes that have nothing to do with Pendulum summoning. Phantom Knights, Melodious, Lunalights, Super Heavy Samurai, Raid Raptors, Fluffles. There are so many archetypes from the Arc 5 era that are going to get added to Duel Links that will not feel the effects from this at all. And I think Konami probably knew that when they were mapping out what cards are going to be released into this game, and so they just didn't want to risk Pendulums being super powerful, and thus they implemented Pendulums in the back row, and so you only have one section for spells and traps. So definitely sucks for some decks, definitely sucks for big Pendulum fans, but what do you guys think about this? I mean, are you in favor of this? Do you not really care? I'm very indifferent on it because I just wasn't going to Pendulum summon anyway. That's just not a deck that I was going to play. I might try out Raid Raptors. I might even try out Phantom Knights and Fluffles. I didn't really have any interest in playing DDDs or an Odd Eyes deck or a Pendulum Magicians. So again, it's not something that's going to affect my play style or my decisions going forward in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, but let me know what your thoughts on this are. I do feel bad for the people that are big Pendulum fans, but who knows? Maybe the big Pendulum players will be able to still make this work and will make Pendulums one of the better decks in Duel Links for a while. I mean, who really knows? Although it does seem like they're going to be heavily disadvantaged from the start. Dead on arrival. It's a term I've been seeing a lot get thrown around during this because of this announcement, and, you know, I wouldn't really argue that, to be honest. But let me know all your thoughts down below. Let me know if you're still excited for Arc 5 World, and let me know what you would have maybe rather seen them do when it came to the implementation of Pendulums. Thank you all so much for watching, and a special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons, Horace Maye, Goosey Q, Panther J, Blue Maiden 28, and Jarrett Buller, and to my Diamond tier patrons, Jesse Wood and Latrell Smith. Thank you to everyone who supports me on Patreon and who is a YouTube channel member. There are some really cool perks associated with being a patron of mine or being a YouTube channel member. I definitely encourage you to check them out. And to everyone that has supported me through those means, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I stream on Twitch, I'm on Twitter, and I'm on Instagram. Links for all those will be down below. Once again, thank you for watching. I will talk to you in the comments, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.